Hey guys, welcome to Boxing Squared for boxing news and views from around the internet. Despite what some are saying, the Anthony Joshua and Alexander Povetkin matchup is one of the biggest fights that will happen in the heavyweight division for all of 2018. There's no getting away from that. But even in spite of that status, many have already written off the Russian, in part because he's getting a bit long in the tooth now. There's height and reach disadvantages. And ultimately, it wasn't the undisputed fight that we'd all hope to see. But that doesn't mean that Povetkin isn't a threat. After all, he's got one of the best resumes of any active heavyweight today. And the situation, you could argue that it helps Povetkin, it aids him in his build-up because there is less pressure on him and less expectation. Whereas Anthony Joshua, as the home fighter, the A side, he's expected to blitz the Russian, and anything short of that could well be seen as a disappointment by many. Even Joshua, he's spoken about needing to go back to the old him, and as he put it, go guns blazing. He will know that even though he possesses all the physical advantages over Povetkin, we're talking about 7 inches in reach and about 4 inches in height, that 1 or 2 well-placed or well-timed punches can change everything. And the last thing that he wants to be on the end of is an upset. So he has been training accordingly, and we're going to get to that. And judging by the footage and photos released publicly, he's not cutting any corners. If we look at the weight aspect, so have a look at some of these photos on screen, a couple of bits and pieces from his camp here. I think Joshua's cutting a very similar figure to the Joseph Parker camp. To the actual fight, he weighed 242 for that one. So I expect he'll probably weigh in something similar, around the 240 to 245 pound range. He showed in the Parker fight that actually helped him. It was a good weight for him. It helped balance his speed, power, and endurance. And he certainly was able to go all 12 rounds without much trouble. Whereas in previous fights at a heavier weight, he visibly looked tired in the second half of fights. The longer it went on, the more gassed he got. I want to spend a few minutes now just to go through some of the training footage, just to get through a few thoughts here. So if you look at the sequence, which is running in the background here, so we've got some skipping, some pad work and bag work. And overall, Joshua is looking pretty sharp. He's really bouncing around. He's actually looking very fluid, very relaxed. Probably more fluid and relaxed than I've seen him, in other footage from other training camps. And certainly one of the knocks on Joshua previously is that he's been a bit robotic, a bit stiff. And his trainer, Rob McCracken, has spoken previously about wanting to sort of iron some of that out of him and improve his movement for him to become the dominant heavyweight of his era, which he arguably is at the moment or is on his way to being. And you can see by this footage, Joshua's being put through his paces with more than just some run-of-the-mill training. He's literally being made to think on his feet here. He's reacting, he's resetting, he's got to stay loose and relaxed to do it well. And in this one here, it's a similar but different training scenario that you could liken to whack-a-mole. Joshua, he's being made to think fast, adapt, react, use his reflexes, use some lateral movement to tap the shifting targets. I think many of us would probably be exhausted after about 15 seconds of that. Just trying to keep up with that is exhausting. And Joshua, he's really displaying some good speed here, good coordination. And note the altitude mask as well that he's training with to help increase his endurance and overall fitness. It's no easy work training with that thing on. And we know with this fight, Alexander Povetkin, he's a pressure fighter. He will be coming forward. And given his 7-inch reach disadvantage, he'll really be looking to get inside and start unloading some work to Joshua's body and head. He'll have zero chance trying to win this thing from the outside. He won't make any inroads being boxed on the outside. And you can see Joshua in this training footage is working on going backwards, on working on dealing with pressure. And this was an aspect I felt that he did need to work on because there were certainly some spots in the Joseph Parker fight in particular where he was forced to go backwards and he didn't really look that comfortable doing so. So I am expecting he will look a bit better on the back foot, and I'm expecting he will go on the back foot in spots to deal with Povetkin's pressure, because I think it's unlikely he's going to remain a stationary target for too long, because, that's going to help Povetkin shooting left hooks, overhand rights, all that sort of thing. Povetkin probably wants him to be quite stable, and, he wants to work on the inside. I mean, one of the things you can see from this other clip here, from the same training session, is that Joshua is also working on imposing himself in the clinch. And as the bigger and more physically stronger man, he needs to do this against Alexander Povetkin. And it could be a very effective tactic at sapping Povetkin's energy. Especially, if he can sort of force him onto the ropes or spin him around and just lean all over him, lay all over him, really sort of manhandle him. Having a 240-pound guy wrestling with you in that sort of situation, it's going to tire you out some. And Joshua, he knows that the left hook is one of Povetkin's money punches. And Joshua, in the past, he has been prone to be caught by a left hook, and obviously that one by Dillian Whyte, it stands out as an example. And in regards to that, Joshua has told Sky Sports, in respect of Povetkin, you can see he knows how to knock someone out. He's got a great left hook. Triple left hook sometimes he throws. So basically he showed that he knows how to knock someone out. Povetkin is a gold medalist, unbelievable pedigree, and has come through the professional rankings very well. I've watched him for a long time. He is one of the best fighters on my record. He has a style I enjoy competing with, and I have no problem with left hooks, right hand, defending and countering, boxing at range. I know Alex can box, there's no doubt. But in terms of his style, solid base, gravity under his feet, swinging hooks versus someone with an English style, it makes for a great fight. We will gel for an interesting matchup. And in terms of Povetkin, he's obviously deep into his own training camp as well. And one of the big pieces of news to come out of his camp is that there's been the addition of rising British prospect Daniel Dubois for sparring. And I really like this move for both guys. For Povetkin, he obviously gets to face a guy of a similar sort of height to Joshua who's got real power, especially in that right hand. It's not exactly like for like, but these situations really are. And you can see by this photo posted on Twitter by Povetkin's promoter, World of Boxing, there's a lot of tall timber in Povetkin's camp giving him some work. For Dubois, it's also a great experience for him to be able to get into camp with an experienced and professional operator like Povetkin. And even though that there is a language barrier, he'll no doubt come away the better for the experience. And in this instance, it does serve a dual purpose. It's going to help him prepare for his own upcoming fight against Kevin Johnson in October. He'll come away the better for this experience, I believe. But make no mistake, Anthony Joshua, with all his physical advantages and being on home turf in front of tens of thousands of fans, he's going to be tough to beat. Alexander Povetkin has got it all to do. I would say Anthony Joshua is at least a 70-30 favourite, possibly a touch higher. But Povetkin, he can box, he can punch, so he's never going to be out of it. He will always be in this fight, and it could only take one punch to change the course of the fight. And obviously we did see when Povetkin fought Vlad a few years back, Vladimir Klitschko, that Vlad was able to assert himself physically and effectively manhandle Povetkin to some extent. Although the ref probably did let Klitschko get away with some things that the ref for this upcoming fight may not. So I am interested to see, can Povetkin mitigate the issues that he did sort of come up against in the Vlad fight? Because if he can't, Anthony Joshua could at the very least coast to a points decision. A very good big man is always going to beat a smaller big man in these sort of instances. But, we'll have to see on this. But Anthony Joshua is the firm favourite. What do you make of it all? Drop a comment, loud and often, hit like, hit subscribe, follow me on Twitter, boxing_squared. I'm out.